we're moving into the NBA playoffs now. We have the graphic up here. This is as of last night, after last night's game. You have the Bulls and the Heat playing for the 9 and 10, and you have the Magic and the Hawks playing for the 7th and 8th on the East Coast side, on the Eastern Conference side. On the West side, you have the Dallas Mavericks and the Sacramento Kings in the 9th and 10th spot. And then on the 7th and 8th spot, you have the Wolves and the Clippers. And you obviously see really pretty much 1 through 6 for both sides didn't really change for the playoffs for East or West. So the one thing that happened last night was pretty good for the Warriors. If they played at 4 and 5, the Warriors went into LA last night and got a win. And then Ja Morant played against the Miami Heat. And even though right now they're scheduled to play the Denver Nuggets, Ja Morant hit a game winner, like I was telling y'all in Tuesday. Didn't I tell you Tuesday?
Hey, man, I've been saying this.
You did.
Didn't I tell you Tuesday that if Ja Morant is healthy, the Grizzlies are a problem?
Hey, let me say something real quick. Ja Morant, Zion Williamson. I understand Zion is not playing, but 1 and 2, those are my guys. One of my favorite drafts ever. Zion and Ja Morant against the Nuggets. I got them in 6 games, and I promise you, they're the deepest team in the league, next to probably the Thunder. Okay, the Grizzlies are something else. They I don't know how they lost the 2 seed or 3 seed they had last week. I think went down to 6 already. But
it's because the West is so tight. It's just you lose a couple games. They lost 4 in a row. So
yeah.
So wild actually is.
But they was losing close games though. They was losing by the buzzer beater for a cool week. It was crazy. But look, if the Grizzlies play the Nuggets, bro, I got Grizzlies in 6. And that's no disrespect to Jokic, but their team is not deep, not like the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have just so much young talent. And if we're talking about the Thunder, okay, that 7 and 8 play-in spot was the Clippers and the Timberwolves, correct?
Correct.
And
yep.
Listen, that is not those teams you don't want to see first round. I'm not gonna lie.
Especially AE. AE's
yeah, you do not want to see Anthony Edwards in the first round, especially if you're with a team as inexperienced as Houston. Houston's been great this year. Don't get me wrong, but I think they're shooting a little. They're shooting a little above their pay grade when it comes to their spot in the standings right now. If I'm Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets,
great coach.
I am terrified of seeing either of those teams, but especially the Timberwolves. I think the Timberwolves are much more well-rounded. And I think that just the experience factor alone, does Houston win more than 1 game that series? They might. I think they win maybe 1 game.
They have
game
home
2.
Court, so
I'm sleeping on Houston.
Against the Timberwolves?
Oh my God!
Against the Timberwolves.
They're winning. They're going to 7 games. All right, let's get that. Let's get that understood. That series, Rockets versus Timberwolves, that's going to 7.
What about Clippers then? I mean, that's the same thing. A lot. Really?
I do. I think
really?
Rockets. I don't think. Listen, you understand that James Harden has a career low of 33% field goal percentage in the playoffs. I don't trust him. I trust Kawhi, but he's not even. He's not healthy ever. So it's going to be very tough for that team to beat a young, healthy, Rockets team.
Yeah, now, they're young and they're very balanced too. I mean, the oldest player on their roster is 30. It's Jeff Green.
Yeah,
but if you were to disregard Jeff Green, it's 30-year-old Fred VanVleet.
And he's still
that's the oldest player on the roster.
Still a hooper.
And listen,
he still is. He's down to 14 points a game this year. He's still taking 13 shots a game. Jalen Green's obviously the lead scorer. Alperen Sengun it's in the name. He's a goon. Alperen Sengun is a disgusting basketball player, but it's the experience factor. They're seemingly coming out of nowhere to be this good. Last year, 41 and 41. I can give them that, but it's not been a steady build. It has not been a steady build under any means. They had 20-ish wins for the last 3 years after Mike D'Antoni was gone and Steven Silas took over. Ime Udoka since then, it's been good, but they're seemingly coming out of nowhere with largely the same roster. Obviously bringing in VanVleet and Brooks, but largely the same roster again, going from 20 wins to 50 wins in 2 calendar years. I just can't trust that in the playoffs.
See, my question.
I think we talked about this on Tuesday. I think they're just a year away That's all it is. They're not quite ready yet.
It's like the Thunder from last year.
Yeah,
it's like the Thunder from last year.
Was their
They're a
record
year away.
fantastic?
They
Of
made it to the
course,
second round and lost in 6 games, bro. I'm telling you, the Rockets have a chance to actually to beat one of those teams. And then the next round, then it gets tough. I think who would they play?
They play the winner of the 4-5 Lakers. The 3-6. Sorry, the Nuggets and Grizzlies.
Okay, then that gets more tough. Okay, then they would lose. Okay, but I'm saying they can win one round. I genuinely believe they will win one round. I don't know if it'll be against Anthony Edwards. That's one. I don't know. But the Clippers, I think they beat the Clippers.
Route.
Like
they're the best route. Yeah.
The real question is whoever loses that 7-8 spot or that 7 spot, and they go play another playing spot against the Mavericks and Kings. Who are they playing? The Mavericks or the Kings? I know it's like it doesn't really matter, but those teams, they're not great. The Mavericks history, with the Luka trade that unfortunately, and Kyrie
I was telling you,
getting injured. Who's winning that game? Like Mavericks or Kings? I think that's a very important thing to understand. Like that, and once you lose one playing game, it's very hard to win that next one. Like very.
But I was saying with when I was talking about the most dangerous team in the West on Tuesday, I said it. The doggone Golden State Warriors.
Duh.
Yeah.
Golden State looks absolutely fearful.
Listen,
no, Stephen Curry.
If he averages 30 a game,
if you've seen that game at the end of the game, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler playing defense like that on that kind of a level, and then don't forget Jimmy Butler. I know some Golden State fans talking about, Jimmy Butler looks average. Wait to the playoffs, bro. When this man is in the playoffs, he's already been proven to take a team that barely had a superstar. It was just him, and took them all the way to the finals twice.
Most dangerous team in the playoffs. Most dangerous team in the playoffs is the Warriors on the West side, at least. On the east side,
on the West side, at least, yes.
We can talk about the East in a minute.
Side, I can say if Dame comes back, it'll probably be the Bucks.
Ooh, he coming back too. Hey,
he comes back. I think the Bucks will be actually pretty tough.
Doc did say that the injury is not as bad as previously thought, which was exactly the words we wanted to hear as Bucks fans, and that he could be back not only in the playoffs, but earlier in the playoffs than we expected, like possibly towards the end of round 1.
So let's go.
So you can do Indiana. What are y'all gonna play with the Cavs? What you gonna play, the Cavs?
No, we
Indiana, and then we play the
second round. We play the Cavs. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get through Indiana, you play the Cavs the second round with a Damian Lillard who has some rest.
No, we're losing.
We're losing. It's wishful thinking to think that we could take down Cleveland. The lights are not too bright for Jared Allen anymore. Cleveland is probably going to steamroll their way to the finals. However, obviously Boston still exists. I don't trust the Knicks or Pistons. I
won't say steamroll.
They're not going to sweep Boston by any means. But I think this time around, it's Cleveland's year. It's basically playing themselves. They would have to beat themselves to not make the finals. It's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough.
I
will gladly sleep on the Knicks.
We need to stop.
I'm sleeping on the Pistons. I'm sleeping.
My bed's over there. I'll go take a nap.
I'm sleeping on the Knicks. I got my eyes on the Pistons because they're young and they're like the Rockets. They're nice. Okay, Kate Cunningham has a chance to be the best player in the league one day. Okay, he's on that way. Okay. Now, I'm sleeping on the Knicks all day long. They're not good to me, bro. Without Jalen Brunson, they are an embarrassment, okay, in my opinion. And when it comes to the Pacers and us playing the Pacers, we're going to beat them in 6, okay, if we're healthy. If we're healthy, we're beating them in 6. I'll give them 2 games. Now,
breaking news for real. Even though it came out, I think, about an hour ago, Ja Morant fined $75K for his gestures.
Let that man live, man. Let that man live.
Do that to everyone else on the bench.
Everyone does that
then too. Every single player does that, and other leagues too.
$75,000. That's wild. That's almost $100K.
It's only just because of his past history. That's all it is. It's just because,
No, it's just picking on the guy now at this point.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
They did the same thing with Draymond
because of his past.
They did the same thing with Draymond. Draymond makes one mistake, they're all over that. Like that, they
haven't even done it to Dylan Brooks yet. For those who don't know, this was the 2 gestures: April 1st and April 3rd.
Yes, sir.
After he hit the first 3 of the game for his first points of the game, I guess. For Memphis, he put up looked like, what was it, an AK? It looked like. So
big Ja fan. Huge
My
draft.
cousin was like, he's so ignorant that he love it.
He does. He loves it. I love it too. Let him
He
live.
throws that up, but ends up to proceed to end up winning a game.
And here we go into the half-court set. No Tyler Hero in here, so they can switch everything.
Jalen, your mic's muted, by the way.
The move that he did was insane. Like, that step back was insane. I'm sorry.
No, I just love Brian.
I'm surprised he ain't throw it up there.
Bang.
He should have, but I just love Brian Anderson on these calls, man. We're talking about some all-time broadcasters here. Brian Anderson, BA might be one of the greatest to ever do it in the very end. But I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do we really think the Grizzlies can go far at all with the inconsistency at their head coaching spot? Because we still don't know why Taylor Jenkins was fired. We still don't know. We probably won't know for a long time. But the roster obviously didn't change. The play style didn't really change. Like, they're not going to change things up. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's assistants taking over. So it's not like a brand new head coach was brought in like the Bucks last year with Doc Rivers. But can this team actually go far? Like, is there any chance? We talk about them being the deepest team in basketball. The deepest team, especially in the West. But they're going up against the Nuggets right away. Talking about Jokic, talking about Jamal Murray, like the guys who just won a ring a couple of years ago and are still just as good. Jokic might be the greatest basketball player on the planet right now.
Did you forget that the Grizzlies with John Morant when they were in the playoffs last time? I understand they lost to the Warriors, but they took them to 7 games, my friend. 7 games. That's when the Warriors won the finals that year. Okay, but
I'm gonna talk about it again, like I said on Tuesday.
And here we go into the half-court set.
This man is playing.
I gotta stop sleeping on him, bro.
They are a legitimate problem. This man is playing. They are a championship contender.
Look,
period.
They ain't going to
call 12. T. Morant looks at the watch like it's his time.
Now listen,
and they all running calling 12.
If they play against the Thunder, they're losing. Okay, they suck.
Well, I think anybody who plays against the Thunder is losing.
They suck against the Thunder. But the team that the Thunder should not want to see the first round is Anthony Edwards. That is one team that I do not want to see first round. The Clippers I want to see. Okay, the Clippers, Mavs, and Kings. Let's see them first round. Okay, it's not an issue. But if I see Anthony Edwards first round, I'm sweating a little bit because if you go to 7 games, if that goes to 7 games and they have to play the Lakers or Warriors next round, they're losing. They're losing.
I'm glad you threw that graphic back up, Jalen, because I obviously I think the favorites right now, Cleveland and OKC. That like the league, I feel has to be squeamish if 2 small markets are in the finals this year.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you for the money thing.
They're gonna want Lakers Celtics or something along those
Lakers Knicks, LA versus New York.
They're praying for that.
If anything, if it comes to tuition and push come to shove, they want to see Steph Curry or Jokic playing against the Celtics
or Bron. This might be the last year. Yeah. This might be the last year of pure dominance from Bron. Like, he's still out there doing it, but it's not going to be long. It's not going to be long, and soon he's going to retire. It's just the reality of the situation. If I'm Adam Silver, we're talking about some of the greatest. We're talking about the greatest basketball player of all time, other than Michael Jordan. However you want to slice it, one's 1A, one's 1B. There is no number 2.
There's wrong
1A and 1B. There's no wrong answer. We're talking about one of the greatest basketball players to ever walk this earth, and he's going to not be playing anymore in less than 5 years. Might even be less than 3. We might get 1 or 2 good to great seasons left out of LeBron.
I think we
before
get
he retires,
year and that's it.
I think we get.
We knew he was hanging around. We knew he was hanging around still to play with Bronny. Wherever he went to, he was going to go there for at least a year, maybe 2. And Bronny ends up going to the Lakers. Call it nepotism, call it what you want, but he ends up going to the Lakers. Bron plays the season. So does he stay around for 1 more? I mean, is his contract up? That's the next question I have. I don't know the exact contract details off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think he's planning on declining the player option, something like that. He's doing something. Have we even considered better players for Luka? That's what he's doing something like that. So I'll report on it.
Have we even considered he might be done after this season? This might be it for Bron, especially playoffs wise. This might be it. This could very well be it.
It's last season for sure. If he
and
wins
the Luka trade too.
Top.
We're talking about the Luka trade too. I mean, Luka Doncic heading to LA of all places. There's still something fishy about that too. About how that trade went down, how Nico Harrison supposedly talked to nobody else in the NBA and went straight to Rob Pelinka and said, hey, I don't want arguably a top 5 basketball player in the world right now. I don't want him on my team anymore. Why? Because he likes to smoke hookah and eats a little bit too much. You want him? We'll take table scraps. And Rob Pelinka even thought he was joking. Why he only talked to LA makes no sense. There's no logical reason behind it. He could have gotten so much more.
We'll never find out.
For Luka Doncic. He went just to LA. It feels like the league wants LeBron to get one more ring before he rides off into the sunset.
He's not going to get one because Luka doesn't play any defense. And we saw that last night because Curry put him in a blender 8 times in like 2 quarters. It was crazy. And look, I got first round.
Last thoughts.
If the Thunder plays Timberwolves, that's going to 7. I'll take the Thunder over them. This is my West, and then I'll get to East. Then I got the Warriors. Then I got the Grizzlies in 6. The Rockets will probably play the Clippers, maybe, or even the Mavs or Kings, whatever. But the Rockets, whoever they play, I think they'll win in 6 or 6. Yeah. And then East, that's a tough one, man. Cavs, man. If the Cavs see the Magic, or that's a good series, man. The Magic aren't ready yet, but that's still
almost definitely.
They're too injured right now, but we gotta stop sleeping on Paulo. But yeah, the Cavs are gonna win the round regardless, I think. And then Pacers versus Bucks. I got us in 6 if we're healthy, and I got Pistons, man. I got Pistons winning against the Knicks, bro. I'm not convinced about the Knicks. The Cat can't guard any big. Celtics are gonna win whoever they play. So, but we'll get to the next round after that eventually. But that's my first round prediction.
All right. Well, fellas, this has come to the end of the live now. So we'll probably jump into some. We're going to talk to you about the NCAA championship. Obviously, that happens on Monday. The women is on Sunday, so we'll jump into that on Tuesday's show.